in the 21st century. Hard-working people working hard for you and me. Moving higher, time and time again. Through the years you'll find us here. Moving higher.
Hello and welcome to Moving Iron Podcast, Tax Moves with Glen Birnbaum. Glen is a CPA with Heinel Banhort in East Peoria, Illinois, and this edition of the Moving Iron Podcast is brought to you by Dawsontire and Wheel, your premier ag tire and wheel provider in North America. Also, Tractor Zoom, delivering insights, and the official work boot of the Moving Iron Podcast, dry shod boots. Glen, how you doing, man?
Good. Hey, this is the third time.
Hat trick, baby. Hat trick. Got a hat trick today. So Glen is rarely on here more than 3 times in a month, and he's been on 3 times this week. So, Glen, there is just a mountain of things that are going on in the accounting world because of this coronavirus or COVID-19 issue we have out there. So, kind of give us a recap of what we talked about so far this week. We've talked about all kinds of extensions that we're going to get, or filing deadlines that are going to get extended, and not necessarily when payments we're going to get due, and those kind of things, and then the amount that you could defer and all those fun things. And now today comes out, and it's a whole new thing. So tell us what happened today, Glen.
Yeah. So today, it's Friday. It's about 7:30 Central. So when we're talking here in the evening. And so, we've talked earlier in the week that, hey, any payments that were due on April 15th, if those are delayed, you don't have to make any payments until July 15th. So it's kind of the economic reality of things, right? Hey, keep the money in your bank account. But the one thing was that you still had to file, an extension or actually file your return on April 15th. So today, Friday morning, I think it was about 9 a.m., Secretary Mnuchin tweets. So he puts out a tweet that says, hey, the filing of the returns has been, pushed off till July 15th. It's a tweet. There's no formal guidance. And we go pretty much all day with just a very short little tweet that says, hey, so I think it was about 4:30 Central PM. There's a notice that comes out, IRS notice 2020-18, which supersedes IRS notice 2020-17, which was posted earlier this week. So the nice thing is it confirms this tweet that yes, the tax returns, your personal tax returns, we're mainly talking here, April 15th. You do not have to file an extension. There's different form numbers if you had to file extension, but you don't have to do that anymore, right? The actual return is delayed until July 15th. So in theory, there's nothing you need to do if you don't want to. But obviously, as we talked about before, if you have a refund or something, right, there's no reason not to get your stuff in, get that money back. And even if you're expecting to have a balance due, depending on your CPA and what state they're in, if they've been, but a lot of CPAs hopefully can remote in or more and more they can. And so they can probably still work on your return and give you an idea of what you owe. And then we just don't have to file or, write a check on April 15th. So it kind of puts the payment due date and the tax return due date in the same setting, right? They're now both due July 15th. So should be some clarity.
Okay. All right. So typically your first quarter payment is due April 15th, and your second quarter payment is usually due in that time frame that you're talking about here. So let's talk about that part of it. So estimates, are they pushed back too, or are we talking about just your overall yearly tax responsibility?
Good question. So the first quarter estimate, which is due April 15th, is pushed back to July 15th. We know that, and there is no penalties or interest on that. Now, earlier in the week, you could only, if you owed more than $1 million, which is obviously a big number, but if you owed more than $1 million, you'd have to pay that amount by April 15th. So let's say you owed $1.2 million, right? You could not have to pay the $1 million, you'd have to pay the $200,000. Well, now they've changed that. And again, in this notice that just came out Friday afternoon here, which, Secretary Mnuchin did not mention, basically all payments can be deferred. So it doesn't matter the amount of payment you have, you do not have to write that check until July 15th. So the first quarter estimate goes in with that because it's part of the April 15th due date.
Okay, so you're just stroking one check for your estimate and your actual tax liability at that point.
So then if we're talking quarter two estimates, and there's been a little back and forth on this, I think right now the best read is that the second quarter estimate is not deferred.
Okay,
but that could be subject to change. So you actually have the second quarter estimate, which I think we talked about before.
Right.
Second quarter estimate's actually due before the first quarter estimate, but that could, there's been a little different, but I know the Wall Street Journal, that was kind of their take on it. But some other people may think differently, but I think the best take is that the second quarter estimate is not, does not get extended. You will have to make that payment.
That's June 15th, right?
15th.
Yeah. Okay, so you're going to pay your second quarter estimate before you pay your first quarter estimate and your actual taxes from 2019.
Yep, makes sense.
It's like, it sounds like the government's putting this program together. More right. I hear about it. So what you're telling me, Glenn, is I don't have to pay taxes in 2019.
Right. Yeah, you just push that off. Now, again, this is all rapidly changing here every day, but now because the tax return deadline has been pushed off to July 15th, now also we believe that retirement plan contributions, if you have to make your IRA contribution, or there's SEP IRAs for self-employed people, SEPs, self-employed retirement plans, those would also not need to be paid by April 15th. Because the read is because the deadline got pushed off, you should. And again, we're going to hopefully get confirmation of this next week. But the best read now is, hey, you don't need to make any retirement plan contribution until at least July 15th. Some people are even saying it's possibly even pushed off beyond that. So again, any money that you were planning on having to pay out April 15th, not any money, but income tax and retirement plan contribution stuff, you can push off. Now, they did make clear that payroll tax, so if you're an employer and you're having to remit payroll taxes, that nothing has changed on that in this notice. So
good, that was my next question, because I know that was on the table at the time to do away with the payroll tax. So it was going to basically be a 7.5% increase.
Yeah, that seems like that it's going to be more of, and I think we talked about this on Wednesday. It's going to be more of you're going to get a check, or it's going to be a direct deposit. It's going to be based on your 2018 information, because some people haven't filed their 2019 information, but it might be based on your 2020 income. Actually, there's going to be means testing on this, so they're going to pay you the amount kind of based on your 2018 income. Again, this is a little bit of speculation here, but this is what I've read so far. Going to pay the amount based on what your income was in 2018. But then if your income in 2020 is high, right, then they would take that back from you when you file that 2020 tax return.
Okay. So what about all the estimates that are due for on-farm income estimates? Are those all pushed back to that June time frame too? I know there's a little different time frame there than what we typically see for everybody else.
Good point. Farmers have generally had to make a January 15th estimate, and then if you didn't do that, you just had to file and pay by March 1st. So people that have already filed and paid by March 1st, there's no you kind of paid it back.
Yeah.
Now, something else, Casey, there are situations where we've maybe filed a return for somebody. They owe money, and they have it in the system to take out the money via auto deduct on April 15th, right? So it's in the system to pull it out. And so there's some question about, our software company is saying, hey, we can't really undo this. In other words, if you've already got it to draw out on April 15th because you filed your tax return 2 weeks ago, I don't know that we can change that. There may be ways that we could call the IRS or something, but that's just another little quirk, right? If you've kind of already set it up to pull it on April 15th, so you didn't forget about it, right? You just say, I'm going to pull it on the last day. That's another little wrinkle that you kind of, may be stuck with that money getting pulled out of your account.
Yeah. Well, it's not necessarily a bad thing, right?
No, if you've got it set up. But yeah.
If you want to take that cruise that you've always wanted to take, it might be a bad thing.
Some big sales, probably.
Yeah.
So again, the good thing is it's now the deadline for making payments and filing your tax return is now the same, July 15th. It does take some pressure off of CPA firms, right, that have had to go to remote work or maybe shut down. But in general, people are able to work remotely fairly well. And so, certainly reach out to your CPA. I know there's a lot of materials coming into our office right now. Stuff is getting dropped off. We have a drop box kind of in the vestibule. So really, for the safety of our employees and things, no one is really coming up to our office, but they're dropping things off. And we are able to do a lot of things via email and things. But it does take some of the pressure off of, somebody having to come in. And the other thing is, in theory, when you do an extension, you're supposed to actually estimate the tax you owe, like on the extension form.
Right.
So if we don't have any information, you're kind of filing a blank extension is maybe not quite proper. So this takes kind of that little technicality off the table that, you don't even have to file an extension form.
Okay, so this $2,000 check or whatever it is that they're bouncing around, I'm sure it's going to be based on income and all kinds of things that go into that. But I've heard the blanket $2,000 check for everybody in the United States type of thing. Is that taxable?
We're not sure. It depends on how they do it. If they make it like a tax credit, we'll get more guidance on that. I mean, right now it's just a proposed bill by the Senate Republicans, I believe, is what we've seen. So, we kind of go back to 2008, which is a while ago. There was some of that happened.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
But I don't know, and I don't remember, but there will be guidance. And again, the initial thought was, we mentioned this on Wednesday, that they might start coming to you, or at least start processing them like April 6th. So, still a little ways to go. It's March 20th now, so a couple of weeks still plus. Okay. So we'll have that answer eventually.
Yeah, just kind of like.
But maybe they'll issue another notice that supersedes the notice they sent on Friday.
Yeah, then just do away with the IRS altogether. Get back to that postcard.
That could be.
I'm not gonna hold my breath on that one. All right, buddy. Well, good stuff as usual, Glenn. Anything else you want to throw out there before we shut this thing down?
No, I don't think so. Just don't be afraid to reach out to your CPA via email or whatever, and they are working on your behalf, albeit probably at a reduced schedule. But if you have concerns or whatever, feel free to reach out to them. But it does take some of the pressure off.
Yep. So if you want to reach out to the best CPA firm in North America, how would you do that, Glenn?
So that's Heinold Banwert. Phone number is 309-694-4251. And that's my number. It'll if you ask for me, it'll ring to my extension, and it might go to my cell phone. So that's. And otherwise, you can always look me up on Twitter at Glen Birnbaum is the handle.
Right on. Ton of good stuff out there. Those CPAs always chime in on each other's posts, so make sure you check that out. And Glenn, it's unique times here in what we see here, and it's unprecedented times. And this is one of those deals where this is almost a choice of economic downturn of I mean, I guess not choice, but it's not like a collapse of the stock market or the housing industry or something like that. This is a completely different thing that has an unforeseeable future. So, stay tuned to what Glenn's Twitter handle there, and also stay tuned to what we've got going on here in the Moving Iron Podcast. So, Glenn, I appreciate you being on the podcast 3 times this week, man. Tomorrow morning, I can't wait till we do it again. So it's going to be great.
All right, thanks a lot, Casey. Appreciate all that you do and all your other guests. It's been really helpful this last few weeks here. So
I appreciate that, Glenn. So make sure you check out Moving Iron LLC on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Check out the MovingIronLLC.com website, and also the Global Ag Network and all the people out there on the network as well. So until next time, I'm Casey Seymour with Glen Birnbaum. Let's go move some iron, folks. Out.
Moving iron in the 21st century. Hard-working people working hard for you and was here.